If you're watching this, then I'm guessing you feel there is something more within you that needs to be fulfilled. You know you're meant for more. And yet, no matter how much you search, there doesn't seem to be this crystal clear moment of, this is it, or you found it. I know what this feels like. For years, I asked God, what is my purpose? What do I need to be doing with my life? I would walk around for hours, just pondering and wandering. And I would never really get a clear answer. It was kind of a struggle. Part of the reason for this wandering was because I was asking the wrong question. By asking myself, how do I find my purpose, or what is my purpose? My brain focused not only on the idea that I didn't already have one, but it focused on seeking things outside of me, externally, for the answer. So I would take personality tests like the Myers-Briggs test, or the Enneagram, or StrengthsFinder, or doing the Japanese model Ikigai thing. And as much as these things were helpful, they never brought that crystal clarity that I was searching for. So maybe you can relate. And maybe you can also relate to those people who seem to already have it figured out, that they're either born with some kind of skill, or they just know from a young age, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a doctor, I want to do this thing, and then they do it. Or you might be surrounded by people who just have the impression that they want to write a book and they just go for it. But if you're anything like me, then it's a little different. You don't have that same kind of clarity, and it can make you question and wonder, God, why don't you just tell me? Wouldn't it be easier if you just told me, then I could get to where I want to go? So regardless of your experience, here's what I've realized after a decade of studying, learning, and wandering. And it's this. The real problem is not about how do I find my purpose. The real problem is about how do I receive it. And I'm going to explain this to you by sharing 5 simple shifts that will change the way you see purpose forever. These 5 shifts will help you to move to a fresh new approach of purpose that you can apply every day, and that will give you meaning and fulfillment now instead of at some future point of making it. And I really want you to stay with me to the end of this video, because by the end, we're actually going to walk through an exercise where I will help you to quote unquote receive it. So let's start with shift number 1, going from certainty seeking to mystery moving. For years, I thought purpose was something that I had to figure out, kind of like a puzzle. I was obsessed with certainty. I thought if I didn't get the answer now, I might waste years of my life going in the wrong direction. But here's what I didn't realize. That question of what is my purpose was actually coming from a place of fear. Fear of making the wrong choice, fear of missing the right path, fear of wasting my precious and limited time on the earth. But purpose doesn't come from fear. Purpose comes from trust. Jesus didn't give his disciples a 10-year future roadmap plan of how they needed to spread the gospel. He just said, follow me. He invited them into a daily relationship, not a rigid plan. And so when I stopped demanding certainty and a plan for my future and started walking in a daily relationship with God, everything changed for me. So let me ask you, what if purpose isn't something that you find, but something that you walk into a step at a time? What if clarity isn't about knowing the whole plan, but about trusting that God is with you in each step and will reveal the path as you walk it, even when you don't see the full picture? It was the need for certainty that kept me stuck. But when I embraced the mystery and just walked in that trust, things started working out. And I was able to live in the flow of my divine purpose. Which leads us to the next shift. Shift number 2, go from future focus to present purpose. Now, I have read a lot of books and have paid good money for programs that drive my attention all towards the future. You know, the vision boards, the ideal life books, the concept of bringing your future self to the present moment and acting from that place. And these practices are actually all well and good, and I don't necessarily think there's anything wrong with them, especially if God is leading you to do them. But all I know is that your purpose can only be fulfilled in the now. Any thought or action can only be done in the present moment. You see, we spend so much time thinking, if only I knew the right direction, then I could know where I'm going. Or if I had the end destination, then I could just plug it into Google Maps and it would tell me all the roads that could get there, right? But Jesus tells us something different. He says, "Take therefore no thought of the morrow, for the morrow will take thought of itself." Your purpose is not something waiting for you 10 years from now. It's something you are living into in the present moment. Your purpose is the name and identity that God gave you even before you were born. It's something that you receive from Him in this moment in your life. You see, in my years of wandering, I kept looking to the future. And every time I looked to the future, it took me out of the present relationship that I could have with God. It took me away from the daily promptings and miracles that God was inviting me into every single day. So my invitation to you is to stop looking towards the future and to embrace the love and the guidance that's available to you right now. And God may even give you a vision of the future that can lead you. But my primary message is that this is not something for you to try and figure out in your head. It's something for you to receive in your heart and to partner with God in living it out. This is all about helping you to receive your purpose instead of finding it or trying to seek it. Now let's go to shift 3. Shift number 3 is about going from control clutching to surrendered steering. The world teaches us that success is all about control. If you get the right degree, if you go on the right path, and you make the right decisions, then you'll be secure. But has life ever worked out the way that you've planned? For me, that would be a no, because God's ways are not our ways. But we live in a world that thrives on selling certainty. I remember being sold into different college programs, and I even helped in some of the marketing at times where we would say, we have a 95% placement rating, which means if you come to our college, you're pretty much guaranteed a job. And not only that, but the average salary of our graduate students is $120,000. So that's pretty good, right? And then you have businesses who are always pushing testimonials and saying, here's all the results that we've gotten. Here's all the people that have had success with our process, our method, our product. Now, I'll just say there's nothing wrong with helping people to be certain and assured in their decision making. The big question though is this for you? And what is it that you're looking for in a program, in a service, in a product? And how are you to really know which path is quote unquote right unless you have a conversational relationship with God? Unless you can just receive it and allow God to direct you, allow your heart to move you and pull you versus you pushing towards something. Because here's the thing, I have purchased many of the programs that the world has offered. And I'll admit that many of those purchases were not made from a place of divine direction, but out of a place of curiosity and a place of seeking certainty that if I do this thing, then I will get this outcome. I will fulfill this future desire that wasn't even necessarily inspired of God. And so I would continue my wandering in purchasing something that wasn't aligned with what I needed to be doing. And as much as there are guarantees, we really don't have a guarantee. We don't have a guarantee in this life. We don't have a guarantee that we're going to live another day. So I could keep control clutching and living from this place of anxiety, or I could open up my hands and receive what God wants to give me and where He wants to lead me every single day. And I understand that this kind of way of living is hard. It is scary in and of itself. But I promise you, as I have opened up my hands, I have not only received more, but I have had more fulfillment. And the Lord is teaching me things that I didn't know about myself, like how much I actually enjoy creating YouTube videos and how much I enjoy doing other things that I had a sense of, but I didn't fully understand how much. All I know is that clutching onto control never led me to my purpose, but rather a surrendered steering. It's kind of like what it says in Psalm chapter 37. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and He delighteth in His way. So what if you didn't have to figure everything out? What if all you needed to do was take the next guided turn, trusting that God is steering you in the direction that's going to lead to your own unique promised land? Shift number 4, go from fear falling to faith following. I don't know about you, but whenever I choose to do something outside of society's norm, all of a sudden people have opinions. You know, I have family members who have told me that focusing all of my time and attention on YouTube is crazy. And they'll say things like, Tyson, you have so much education and you could get a job that pays over $100,000 a year with benefits. And Tyson, you're putting your family in jeopardy. And maybe you have voices outside of you that are saying similar things. Things like, you should choose a safe career, or you should just be grateful for what you have, or you can't build a business at your age, or it's really hard to be successful as a musician, an artist, a coach, fill in the blank. But the question is, where do these voices come from? Are they coming from God or are they coming from fear? And isn't it the Bible that says, God does not give us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind? Now, you might have these well-meaning friends and family that really they're just trying to protect you, and they're worried about you and concerned about you because they want to make sure that you make the quote-unquote right choice. But just like you, we're all stuck in this idea that if we don't make the right one, or if we don't walk a secure path, a path that we know that has been proven, then we might not succeed. We might not get the money that we need to survive. So for me and my well-intentioned family, their words aren't actually coming from a place of divine guidance, or they've prayed and they've received this from God to tell me, but rather they're just afraid that if I keep going in this direction, that it will result in pain for me and my family. So I love them and I so appreciate their words, and you can appreciate all the people that are around you that worry for you, but I would rather you actually put your faith in God than your faith in your friends and family. God is not limited. He is a God of abundance, and He is for your good. And He can work within us and through us things that seem impossible, regardless of your age, your experience, or your worldly success. So I just want to encourage you to follow where your heart might be pulling you. And it doesn't mean that we don't consider the voices of mentors and friends. But after getting all the information, after doing whatever study that we might want to do, at the end of the day, I'd rather you follow the voice that's leading you to what you really feel like you need to be doing. You know, Jesus said, I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. All I know is that when you walk with Jesus, you are never behind. You are never too late. You are exactly where he wants you to be. And you can either fall into a fear-based pattern of living, which God is not going to judge you for because that's what a lot of people do, or you can take a leap of faith, follow your heart, and do what no one else is willing to do. You can trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to look to the one who does. Last shift number 5, go from busy believing to relaxed receiving. I spent years chasing clarity, hoping God would give me the perfect answer to my life's plan. But I realized something. God was always speaking to me. I just wasn't listening. Not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't know how. You know, most people don't realize that hearing from God is not some special opportunity for the rare few, but rather it's something you were created for, and that God is actually speaking to you right now. The problem isn't that he's silent. The problem is that our heads are too filled and too distracted to be able to hear anything. It's kind of like a radio broadcast. God's music is always being played, always in the air, but so often we're running around trying to fix our lives and trying to figure it out that we're not really tuning into that station. We're tuning into the station of certainty or the station of fear. And so we're missing it out. We're missing out. So I want to try something. You know how I said at the beginning of this video that we're going to go through an exercise where you can actually receive. This is it. This is what we're going to do. I want you to prepare yourself by taking this video off of double speed. If you are driving, I want you to park your car. This activity would be the activity I would do with my younger self. If I could visit my younger self, if I could go back in time, I would be doing this with my younger self. And before we dive into this, I want you to trust in the reality that God is speaking, that he does speak, that just like a radio, the waves of his voice that we cannot see, they are invisible. They're communicating to you right now. There is a message in the music that's available. This music often speaks more to our heart and gut than it does to our head, just like music vibrates through our body. So to start off, I want you to take some deep breaths in through the nose. You can close your eyes. And as you exhale, I invite you to drop your shoulders. Just relax any tension that's in your head, in your neck, in your shoulders, just in your body. And as you close your eyes, I want you to imagine a peaceful place. This could be a beach, a mountain, a special place that's peaceful to you. A place where you feel connected. And as you imagine this place, I want you to pretend as if you're actually there by hearing the sounds, smelling the smells, feeling the sun or the wind on your face. Just really engage in this. And then I want you to imagine as if there was an unconditionally loving presence there with you. That's outside of you, that it just shows up in this place. And it emanates a light, a warmth, a peace, a love. And you just breathe that in. And I invite you to imagine as if you could give to this loving presence all the doubts, the worries, the confusion, the concerns, whether your own or from family members and friends. Pretend as if you could just give that to this loving presence. And imagine what that would look like. That these things could come out of you and be given to this loving presence. And I want you to notice what it looks like for you to give it away and for this unconditional love to take it. And what does it do with it? And as you let go, I invite you to breathe in the peace and feel into the lightness of having letting go of this burden. Now, with these burdens gone, love wants to give you something in return. It wants to help you understand who you are. So I invite you to ask the question, love, what do you call me? What image, word, or sense would you give me to understand my purpose in this season of my life? And I want you to notice the first thing that comes up. Careful not to start analyzing it. And you can notice this if you start getting into your head and you start analyzing this or saying this doesn't make sense, that can't be right. Just receive whatever it is that you received and write it down. And once you write it down, you can then close your eyes and ask this follow-up question. Lord, what do you want me to know about this word or this image or this feeling? Just let the answer come. Don't try and force anything. Open-handed receiving. Just relax in this moment and allow whatever comes to your heart and mind to come without questioning it. Because this is how your purpose is received and revealed. Not through overthinking, not through striving, but through listening and receiving and accepting. Take another deep breath. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Now, if something came up for you just now, a word, a picture, or a feeling, something, I want you to put it in the comments below. I want to see how God is speaking to you. And for any of you that just listened through that and actually didn't apply it to yourself, please go back, or at the end of this video, I'm going to have a link to an exercise that's a little bit more in depth that you can do at your own time. So I know you people because I do the same thing. I don't like to do the activities that people recommend. So I just recommend that you do the activity, okay? Because it's going to help you. But here's a recap of the 5 shifts that will help you to quote unquote find your purpose. Shift number 1 was all about going from certainty seeking to mystery moving. It's this idea of I'm not trying to have this very specific plan, but I'm just opening myself up to the uncertainty that this life is full of. And I'm welcoming it. It's something that I'm willing to move into because I actually like mystery. We like stories. We like not knowing the answer, at least most of the time. Shift number 2 is going from future focus to present purpose. If you keep focusing on the future, you're going to miss out on the present purpose that God has for you today and now. Shift number 3 is going from control clutching to surrendered steering. When we live from an open-handed willingness, like, Jesus take the wheel, then you'll find that he actually will take the wheel and he will lead you and guide you, versus making sure that I clutch to what I know and have evidence of the past works, those kinds of things. Shift number 4 is going from fear falling to faith following. We can listen to the voices of other people and attach ourselves and align with their fear, or we can rest on faith and trust and know that God does not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. And lastly, number 5, which is going from busy believing to relaxed receiving. If you do find yourself busy in your mind, then oftentimes that does mean that you are trying to figure this life out. And I promise you, it hasn't helped me, and I doubt it will help you. Instead, I want you to relax into receiving, do the exercise, and know that that same kind of exercise is something that I do every single morning for various topics of my life, not just purpose, but for health and wellness and my business, all sorts of things. When you can learn to relax into receiving, lots of things will change. Now, you may have noticed that there is one underlying skill that applies to every single one of these shifts. And it's the one skill I teach and the one skill that really has made the most impact on my life. And that one skill is having a constant connection with Christ. It is the skill of the receiver. So if you want to live into a life filled with mystery and adventure and miracles, then I invite you to join the Receive Academy. This is just a free community that I have of people who want to dive into a life of listening. They want to try and practice living like Christ did when he said, I only do and say what the Father teaches me and tells me to do and say. All I know is that everything we do there is meant to help you connect with God in a real and tangible way. It is the mechanics of listening. It is the how of understanding moving with God and being in relationship with Him every single day. And I want to tell you something, it's not easy, but it is the most worthwhile thing I have done and that I encourage other people to do because of the miracles that it creates and the life that it helps us to live. I believe that you will come to find the same thing if you're willing. But if anything, just remember, purpose is not about something you find, it's about something you receive. Jesus Christ is standing at the door and He's knocking and He's with you. And it's available to you if you're willing to open it.